So 8th grade was a good year. I'm not gonna lie. Like, yeah, I met great people. I had fun. I still had low self-esteem about myself because I just didn't love myself like that. There was nobody telling me I was beautiful, and I still was hearing that I was too fat or I was too dark. I was just not even thinking about like having a crush anymore. Like, I was just happy that, I was just in this environment when I was from home. So, of course, like I said, the neighborhood that my mom got the house in, I knew it was a setup, because at the end of our 8th grade year, we come home from work. From work. We come home from school, the last day of school, and we have this like big red paper on the door. And as we're reading it basically saying that we've been evicted, like the house is being foreclosure. The house is going into foreclosure. Like, the police came. Like, we had a dog too. Like, we had a dog named Blackie, and that's a whole nother story too, because he ended up like a week before. We stayed in the white neighborhood, so of course, racism. It was a black lab. They ended up like trying to kill him. They like put a rod through his shoulder, and the only reason how they knew that it was our dog, the neighbor, I guess animal control was going around to see who the dog was, because we didn't have a collar on him. He was always in the backyard. So, and at that time, we don't know, like, you're supposed to have a collar on a dog. So he had a collar. He didn't have a collar, so they were trying to figure out who the dog was, because the dog literally, they took a rod and put it through his back, and then they did some other stuff to him too. So they were trying to figure out. So when they figured out it was our dog, and mind you, her husband was having a hissy fit, and now that I know like how much it costs to have a dog, because he had to pay they had to take care of all the medical bills, because they did some damage to our dog. His name is Blackie. So when he came back, he had like a big cone around his head. You could tell where they did the surgical stuff like that. So when we got to the house, usually Blackie would be at the gate greeting us, but he wasn't there. So when we read what the red paper said, we was like, wait, what does this mean? And mind you, our key didn't work. So we was like, okay, what's going on? Like, why can't we get into the house? So of course, because we had like a tendency to lose the key, we always had like one of the windows open, so that way one of us could go through and open the door. So we went through the backyard. We didn't see Blackie, and we were like, okay, where's Blackie? Because her husband had a tendency, every time we got a pet, he would end up like dropping it behind Publix or something like that. It didn't matter what it was, a cat, a dog. We had a bird one time, but the bird ended up dying. But every time we got real close to an animal, he would take it and then he would dispose of it, basically. We found out he was dropping it out behind like Publix, I think, or whatever. But when we got into the house, we called my mom. We was like, oh, we couldn't get into the house. The keys are not working. We have to go through the window. But there's this big paper on the door saying that the house is in foreclosure, that the police was here. And I don't remember what she was saying, but I knew she was waiting till her husband got there. That's how we figured, like, we had to leave the house. We couldn't even take nothing with us. We just had to take like clothes and stuff with us, and all our like what we could put in his taxi. So another setback, right? And then I think that's when we found out, like, they took Blackie to the pound, because once they if you have animals and the police have to evict you from the premises, they're taking all the animals, and then you have to go get the animals. So of course we didn't have nowhere to go. We literally didn't have nowhere to go, which was I was like, so we were moving again. And I was like, God, I just started making friends. I just started getting comfortable in this stupid neighborhood, and now we got to move again. But you're asking for respect. So, so mind you, they had friends or whatever, and we ended up like having to stay in hotels for a little bit. And then when they didn't have the money, we ended up having to stay like in one of his friend's house or something like that. And I remember the boy kept picking at my brother, and my brother was like getting real sensitive about it. And I told him, like, just pick on him back. Don't let him pick on you like that. Just say something back to him. Pick on him about something. Because like I said, I was the one like encouraging him to, don't let nobody bully you type thing. So from June, and mind you, my sister and I were supposed to go into, we're supposed to go to high school around this time. Like, so you can imagine when we don't have money to get clothes. So you already know high school is a whole nother genre, like a whole nother thing. So we're trying to tell her, like, okay, we're going to start school. Are we going to go to school? Are we going to go to school? And she was like, well, first I got to figure out where we're going to stay. So we ended up staying in a hotel, literally, for I can't even tell you, because I know we missed like 3-4 months of school. Like, so it was, I don't think we went to school until like October or November. It was a while before we even was enrolled into school, because we were still living in the hotel. And because they was trying to find a house in the area that the school that we were assigned to. So mind you, staying in a hotel room with them. Oh, like we had 2, I think, queen size beds. So they gave my sister and me on one bed, and my brother slept on one bed, and they slept on the floor. So that's how we were living for months before we even got into high school. So you can already tell, like, my self-esteem is just like, why we keep going through this? Like, why? It's like we can't find nowhere stable to stay, and it. But mind you, we had fun in the hotel because they had a pool. Mind you, I don't even know how to swim. I tried to learn how to swim like 3 times, and the last time I literally almost drowned. But the first 2 times I almost drowned too, but I was still willing to go. But that last time scared the crap out of me, and I was like, I don't think swimming is for me. So, but we had fun. We always had, like, my mom would leave like change and stuff for us to go get like stuff from the vending machine. But then you could tell the hotel people were like aggravated with us. I don't know why, because every day they would be like, oh, when we leaving.